Because I was like, oh, hi, and welcome to Realnesss, the show where we talk about reality TV. We get into it. We talk about gossip, anything. We don't talk about spoiler stuff. We don't want to spoil anything. But my name is Michael Pez.
I'm Chantele Francis.
I am Jojo O'Toole.
And this is our special guest, Goldfish.
Goldfish!
Hey! And we're going to be talking about Canada's Drag Race, episode 3, season 1.
Yes.
Goldfish, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are we all doing today?
You are fabulous, and you look fabulous.
Thank you.
Girl, for coming.
I am wearing a wig by Calypso Cosmic. This is the first time I've worn it, so I'm really feeling my oats right now.
Yeah. I want to take like a spoon and just like eat that sorbet.
Yeah, it's totally.
Yeah, it'll cost you, but
Done.
you can do that.
I have $14 in my pocket.
His entire syrup check on Monday is going to be.
Exactly. And that's what I like to see.
So you are gorgeous, but can you maybe tell us about your drag history? Like, how did this come about?
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm actually approaching my 1-year drag anniversary a week today, I believe. No, a week tomorrow, the 28th. So I just, the first time that I performed, I auditioned for Cruise and Tango's Drag Race. Which is like a little masochistic, I always tell people, but like that's just me, I suppose. I've been performing musical theater prior to this, so I'm not new to the stage kind of thing. But in terms of doing drag, yeah, it'll just be about a year next week. And obviously because of that, my drag is a little more geared towards like the theatrics of it, and like I wouldn't say musical theater necessarily, but more so the storytelling aspect, and a little more goofy, less like Broadway dancey. Like I'm not the best dancer, so you won't see me dropping into the splits or anything yet. Maybe in a few years. But yeah, more so just like goofy, sometimes political pieces. I feel like drag is sort of making people laugh while also, getting the message across. Mm-hmm. So,
and I know a lot of up and coming queens have a drag mother or somebody that they look up to. Do you have one of these?
So I don't actually have a drag mother, but I obviously look up to a lot of the more, I don't even want to say senior queens in Toronto, some of the more just well-known queens.
Veterans.
Obviously, Nomi has always been like an inspiration for me. I think most people in Toronto can say the same thing. I know, like when I was in high school back in like 2007, sneaking to Toronto to the gay clubs. I know. The end of high school, anyways. But no, I just, Nomi has always been a staple for me. So that's, obviously I'm not her kind of drag. I'm not the kind of like dancey, voguey, ballroom kind of queen, but she's always been an inspiration for me. She's incredible. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you, the timeline of when they had auditions for Canada's Drag Race, but was it something that you were interested in maybe doing? And did you have the opportunity, and would you do it in the future?
So I did not audition for Canada's Drag Race, only because I think they announced Canada's Drag Race maybe like 2 weeks after I had performed for the first time. And I felt like at that point I didn't really have enough to show, really, because I'm pretty sure the audition process, they asked for like a bunch of different numbers and like videos of numbers and looks and costumes. And at that point, that was just something that I didn't have. But certainly the timing was kismet, I will say. And it's, I think I'll try to audition this year just for the sake of it. Do I think I'll get on? We'll see, but.
We love a baby queen.
Yeah, I think that would be my spin, to be honest. She's a new queen, so.
But like, you did this makeup like on yourself, like.
Oh yes, baby. This is
like, you look great.
Thank you. This is why it took me. Honestly, it took me about like 3.5, 4 hours to get to this point. I do like to just sort of relax and chill as I'm doing the makeup, to be honest. I'm sure if I was rushed, I could do it quicker. But yeah, it's been a hell of a time trying to learn to get to this point. So
you have like a visual arts hand? Like, are you a good visual artist?
So no, I'm like writer, not in terms of like what I write is good, but in terms of like the neatness. The writing is really neat. But no, I'm not really like a visual artist, but I am like, I don't want to say I'm OCD because I'm not, but I have a lot of tendencies that sort of lend themselves to that. So I feel like a lot of the clean lines and a lot of the like mathematics behind doing your makeup is something that really appeals to me. So that's where I sort of thrive, and I can get away with a face like this, but I'm certainly not a visual artist, I would say.
Do you take any lessons or watch some kind tutorials?
Oh, okay. Well, so I've spent the past 1.5, 2 years just watching makeup tutorials. So I will say a lot of my work has been in that realm. Like I'm very much an observer. I need to watch it. I need to know, again, step by step what I'm doing. I needed to figure out tricks for like hooded eyes and just how to work around my face specifically. But it's been an amazing journey. I keep on getting better, but there's obviously times where I get worse before I get better. So if you were to zoom in, there's a lot of fuck ups here.
Nothing.
I'm gonna stand back here.
So we're talking today about Canada's Drag Race, the inaugural season. Like, what do you think about it so far? Like, yes, you're like.
I think it's honestly, as an unbiased, like objective observer, I know I'm Canadian, so it's hard for me to not be biased, but I really think it's entertaining. I'm super loving it. The only thing that I've not been liking is some of the judging choices I find have been a little questionable. But that being said, they're still sort of getting like their feet, they're getting in the hang of it at this point. I also really don't like the guest judge being like the host. I feel like if we were to alternate the 3 in-house judges, that would be a little better because I don't know, to me it just reads a little more professional. And also if they're worried about like Brooke seeming like she's the number 1 judge as over like Jeffrey and Stacy, I feel like rotating them will sort of resolve that. I don't know, it just feels a little weird to have the guest judge be a host, in my opinion.
Sure.
Other than that, I'm loving it though.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I'm loving this episode 3. I loved this episode. But I love this episode. How did you guys think of it, everybody?
It was good because it got to show all their personalities through their raps and what they can do. And it's like they all had their own little solo moment. And the one thing is, if you can stand out in a group, then you're like a star. So it really showed that some people need to step their pussies up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy to finally have Tracy involved as Canada's girlfriend. We've been waiting. I think we even talked about it last week. Like, where's Tracy? Have they edited her out of this program? But the episode overall, awesome. Yeah, can't complain. Not sorry about it.
Not sorry about it. One thing in the beginning of that I thought was really, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but for me, seeing any of the queens of color speak with patois and have like a Caribbean accent, like, because that's like where I'm from, you know what I mean? And that's what I hear in Canada. And so when I see any Black queens from the States, you know, they usually have some sort of Southern accent of some sort, a completely different background. And so I felt a little bit seen there because I don't usually see, you know, someone just in having a regular patois, like some sort of Caribbean accent. So I don't know if it stood out for you, but for me, I felt a little bit at home with that. I felt good.
Absolutely. I think the representation is amazing. And it's important, specifically, I mean, your example for people who want to see themselves in the queens and in the TV shows that they watch. I think it's super important and incredible.
And we'll probably touch on it as well with like Priyanka's like storyline. That really resonated with me, as well as like probably all those other POC kids that like have that father that, doesn't know that they're gay, and they're like, doesn't know. And I'm afraid that my dad's gonna hate me. And like that just resonated so well with me as well. But I love the episode. We got to see more personality too in some degrees, and a little drama.
But how does Priyanka's father not know? Please.
Exactly.
Come on. He might be blinded, but I don't know.
So at the beginning of the episode, they kind of all start congratulating Lemon. And I was really happy for Lemon because, I was hesitant with knowing that she was kind of a newer queen, that she might not be able to show up and stand out. And, the first episode, she was on the bottom and she had to, save herself. And then she excelled in the next episode. So how do you feel about the slow evolution of Lemon so far?
Well, I'm pissed off she's not on my team. So that's one. But yeah, she's doing a great job.
I love Lemon. Lemon to me is like everything I wish that I could do in drag. Like, I just think she's super hilarious. I think she's an incredible dancer. But what I love about her performances in general, is that she injects her humor into her performances, and she's still storytelling while also being super fierce at the choreography, which to me is something that I just love to eat out. So.
Yeah, I think Lemon's like super sweet and sour, and it's kind of like an up and down moment for me. Originally, I wasn't a fan, then I became a fan, then I was kind of like, whatever. I love Lemon.
Now you have a crush.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
I have a crush
Who
on
doesn't?
100%. Lemon, if you want to go and have like a nice little lemon cocktail with me, let me know.
With all of us, we're all gonna be.
Please.
It's gonna be the new Snatch game. We're gonna all like try to date Lemon.
Gladly.
So I do love that Rue comes on the screen and she does all their stories because I try my best because I work as an actor and you're supposed to have a standard American accent, and I try to say sorry. But I do say sorry. What about you guys? How do you guys feel about our accent?
When I lived in New York, I had to try to get rid of my Canadian accent, and there was always the whole sorry came out all the time. So I had to program myself to say sorry a lot. So like, it isn't sorry like a garment.
A rap.
But that's how you're supposed to learn how to say it.
For an American, yeah.
I say sorry like a skin wound, like a sore. Like
Story. One thing I definitely love about our Drag Race is that the judges always look so good. Like, I feel like their outfits just stand out. They show their personality. Like, when Jeffrey walked in the room, I was like, he is so cute in his little outfits. I don't know. I love the fashion that even the judges are bringing to the stage. They're not kind of just wearing a suit, or they're not boring. They're really showing their personality as well.
Well, that multicolored animal print dress that Stacey's wearing is incredible. Is made by Evan Biddell, who is gonna be the guest judge for next week's episode.
Yeah.
And also is the person who made this dress.
Hey, can we see a little more? We stand up for a second.
I'm not.
You're not
wearing pants.
Yeah, it's waist down. You don't want to see it.
No, perfect.
We're saving it for a photo shoot.
Or do we?
So this is where we are introduced to Tracy Melchor, which, like, I was looking at some other YouTube videos, and she was talking about the show as if she was on it. I was still confused because of, like, we haven't really seen her. They haven't really addressed what she's going to be doing, but she's coming up as their squirrel friends. Do you think she's going to have more of a role? Like, how do you feel about her role now? Like, do you think they changed? Like, I don't really know what's going on there.
Time will tell, I think. I don't know if she's like some sort of correspondent for the show, or I assumed she was going to be coming around in the workroom and talking to them and kind of doing what Brooklyn and Jeffrey have been doing so far in the last 3 episodes. So I don't know what her role is. We'll see. She's a squirrel friend.
I find it interesting that she came out and was like, she helped with that mini challenge, but then wasn't on the panel like later.
Yeah.
So maybe she'll be like at the finale. Maybe she'll have a say in, because she's worked with the queens. I don't know, but like that's I'm
Maybe
just
she's
surprised that-
competing. We don't know.
She just came in as a guest star for a quick second. I hope she comes back because I could look at her for days. Like,
Yeah,
she's-
it remains to be seen. I'm a little confused as to why they didn't like establish it in the first episode, even if she wasn't gonna be present. But I assume that they'll clear things up when we see more of her. Hopefully we do. So
Yeah, she's like done promo for the show. She has like the promo photos, so I'm not sure what they're going to.
And she's engaging. Like, I don't know. I was like really, I wanted to hear what she had to say. She was kind of fun. I was hesitant with her being the host when it was announced like 6 months ago or so. I was like, why her? But when I seeing her in the workroom, I thought that she was really engaging. I thought that she had a good place there. And I did some research. I didn't know what Squirrel Friends actually meant. I didn't know it's because they hide their nuts. What? I didn't know. Anyways, that's what I learned about it.
I really didn't know what that was. I thought it was just cute. I just thought it was a cute thing.
So, I've shared something with you. Well, everybody, Squirrel Friends, is because squirrels hide their nuts.
yeah, I guess that makes total sense. I don't know why that didn't click for me earlier, but work.
I was just like always like, oh, she likes squirrels. Okay, cool. But no, okay, all right.
Now we all know what that means. Yay!
Yay, educational.
So I loved this mini challenge. We've been really starved of the mini challenge with All Stars. I don't think there was any mini challenge that many in season 12 of RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't remember, but like I love the mini challenge because it shows what they can do quickly. It's usually fun. It's usually humorous. And this time they did a great one where they were basically being news anchors. So they were having English, French, and Draglish anchor women, and I thought it was awesome. Did you have any standouts here? What did you think about this?
Well, it's nice to finally see an actual Nancy Grace good impression.
Jimbo.
So, Jimbo was a little standout. But Priyanka and Lemon, they killed it. They killed it. Even if you didn't know what they were saying, they just went with it.
Yeah, I think they definitely did the best on paper for sure. I think they deserve to win that. Personally, I love Nomi's like trying to read it. That it was like hilarious. I mean, obviously, I can see why she wouldn't have won because of that, but it's great TV. So
yeah.
I think more so though, a lot of them struggled with Canada Gay M. There was a lot of stumbling. That's what they called it, Canada Gay.
Yeah,
M,
no, I know. I was
love.
surprised that they didn't catch that though. It was pretty. I thought it was obvious, but
yeah, I'm like, there it is. But a lot of them stumbled. Like, I don't know. I don't know if we. Is it the pressure in the moment?
I do like that. Having our French girls be bilingual sort of was an advantage as opposed to them getting sewered in the US version where if they speak Spanish primarily, then they're unable to sort of get through some of the challenges that are obviously geared towards an English speaking audience. So I thought that was really awesome for them.
Yep.
They didn't win, regardless. But I do think that was a great opportunity to sort of uplift, the French identity in Canada.
Absolutely. In our draft picks, I think I was talking about being maybe hesitant about jokes landing for the queens from Quebec, and that might be, depending on how the judges were going to be, using that as criteria. And so I definitely thought that leveling the playing field for the fact that they're always speaking in English, they're always having to translate or adapt their style to be a little more Anglophone. And so the fact that they were open-minded enough to be taking that into consideration, I thought that was a good kudos to Canada for that. But okay, so when I was watching Jimbo the whole time, I was like, he looks like someone, and I realized he looks like Laura Linney.
Okay.
I was like the whole time, like a little bit more haggard, but like that dimple. And I was like, I've been watching the Ozarks, and I'm like, Jimbo, it's right there. I was like, I got it. I figured it out. I was so happy to figure it out.
No spoilers. That's his Snatch Game. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God. Well, he's in a lot of stuff. Like that could be an okay Snatch Game. I think he'll do something a little more weird,
I
but
hope so.
It was so funny when you pulled that off. I'm like, Laura Linney out of all people.
but now like, you can't unsee it, right? Like you could see Laura Linney in that look. What else did I like? the whole challenge though, I was smiling like ear to ear the whole time. I was just enjoying it. It was fun. It was like the stakes weren't that high. Like I feel like people weren't really in their head with like, you know, fumbling over words or just trying to make things funny. Like I liked that it kind of gets them, it's like a warm-up exercise. And I think that it's helpful for them to do better in these maxi challenges because they kind of had an opportunity to try it out a little once, like, you know, speak out loud in front of your peers and on TV. So yeah, I loved that challenge. I thought it's great.
I think the four of us, we could totally kill that challenge.
Teleprompters, like it's so easy.
Please.
Well, that's the thing. That's what we like. A lot of the prompters are used to being on camera.
Well,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And like hitting your mark and having, you know, a camera this way and like say it to this camera, like it definitely is an art and something that you do need to learn and have practice of being comfortable and being yourself on camera. And so I love the mini challenge for the fact that it kind of stretches our queens and gets them to have a little bit of like practice, like help them out. So yeah, I thought that Lemon and Nomi were my favorite too. Actually, that went up there. Those are my favorite.
I'd say Jimbo. I love Jimbos. I love Nancy Grace. Stayed in character like after the challenge even. So yeah.
Yes.
So who won? It was
Lemon and Priyanka.
Lemon and Pri. I think it was the right answer, or sorry, the right result for a team.
Yeah,
in
for sure.
terms of the strongest team, I do.
Oh right, it was the pair. Yeah, I wrote that down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I think they were the strongest pair for sure. So I'm curious as to like why they chose the pair for that one, but then we'll get into the maxi challenge. It's like the team doesn't win. Like I want some consistency there because I didn't like as a team, they were the best team, but I thought that I personally enjoyed Nomi better than Priyanka, but as a team, they're good. I hope that they ironed that out because I don't like that, but we'll talk probably a lot more about that in a little bit. So for the maxi challenge, even like another favorite thing of mine is girl bands, girl groups, rival girl groups. Like I love lip sync battles, and I was even going to do when I was living in Montreal, we were going to actually have a stage dance battle that was like a party, but like you come with your rival, like your girl group, and like have a dance battle. It never ended up happening, but I was like, I always thought it was a good idea. What did you guys think about this challenge?
I liked the idea that it was full on rap, that they'd be writing their own stuff. I think the teams themselves kind of were on par with one another. There wasn't like a clear advantage for one group. But as a whole, what a mess. That choreo was a mess.
That was the worst part for me. I think that in terms of the verses, they all did pretty respectively. Like I think that not one of them really dropped the ball in terms of their lyrics and their singing. I think where most of them had trouble, where they had trouble anyways, was definitely the choreo. And I think the editors did them some favors by like getting away from exactly not showing the whole picture. But you know, I've danced Hollywood Jade's choreo and it is difficult, and I expect it to be difficult when you're on Drag Race, you know what I mean? So yeah, there were some messy queens.
I didn't particularly think it was that hard, but I think that maybe in future they need to have mirrors, because I find like I'm a dancer. I like learning with the mirror because I feel like I imprint it twice. So I can see them out of the corner of my eye here, and then I can see them in the reflection. And so it's like I'm memorizing it from two positions. And so personally, I find that it's easier for me to pick up choreo when I can see myself and the choreographer in the mirror as well as in person. And so I think them being on the stage and they can't see what they're doing, and if they're doing it right, they kind of just have to feel through it. And if they're not a dancer, to know if that looks good and if it looks like what he's doing, I think that they would benefit from having some mirrors there when they're learning choreo.
But how many times have you learned choreo and you're going out there thinking, I got this, and then you don't? It's like you're at an open call and you're learning the choreo and you feel confident. And once you're in front of the judging panel, you go, okay, maybe I don't have this. We don't know. We also don't know like the time frame. They could have an hour with the choreographer and then 2 days before filming. I'm assuming a lot of them learn the choreo at home or in the workroom, or they work together at some point to try and make it great, because we've seen so many people not look great while learning it and then being great on that stage.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to somebody about how like the weekly structure is. It's like, okay, so then you do this, and you know, like how long they have to prepare for the maxi challenge, how long they have to prepare for the lip sync that they might have to do. Like, I would like to have a timeline. So we should
yeah. Like when did they get the lip sync choice? Like they said that Debra Cox is the guest judge, but like it was a Debra Cox song. So like when did they get the song? Did they get
I know they get all their songs before the season begins. So while they're at home, like prepping for
all of them,
everything, yeah, every song. That's
that's
so
actually
song,
great.
Yeah, so you know, like
challenges as well. Like they know what runways they need to prepare. They just don't know when it's going to be for.
Right,
for sure. Like I've seen some of like I think I talked about it last time, but like the challenge. It was the hair challenge this week. And I saw Juices and Kinds look on Instagram. So they had those choices too. And I'm like, damn, I wish I could have saw that Juice Box. Juice Box looks good. She did this werewolf thing. And I'm like, it was with the teeth and all that. I just wanted to see that on stage. So I'm like,
I would love for Tracy Melchor to do like a what you packing for Canada's Drag Race. Like I want to see what the girls have brought that they might not have been able to show. You know what I mean?
I wonder if because of like the state of our world, if things did change once the show began, like they might have had things lined up that they couldn't take part in.
It's true.
But who knows? Season 2, make it happen.
Season 2, please listen to what we're saying. We're just like we're trying to make the show a little bit better, you know? Just listen to
even an untucked. Give us an untucked.
And if you want to have me come on and you want to make cocktails and we want to do something like a little segment, I would love to do that.
I want to be the guest judge. I know we don't. I want to be the guest judge. I want to have the outfit, and I want to get to say win. And so that's what I want to do. So I was actually rooting, obviously, for Lemon's team because it was predominantly my draft team. So it was Lemon, Nomi, Jimbo, Kiara, and Bobo, and the team was Priyanka, Rita Vega, Scarlett, Anastasia, and Ilona. So I already thought that my team was gonna win. They had all the dancers, pretty much, well, not all the queens of color, but most of the queens of color, like the ones that have the rhythm. So I was looking forward to seeing them slay on the dance floor.
Yeah, that team was stacked.
Pardon me?
That team was stacked from the get-go, absolutely.
And so this is where kind of I was talking about before, I was disappointed in how it was judged because like, I thought on a whole, the team was a better team. I thought that the other team collectively was a hot mess. There might have been some standout moments, but if you're trying to be a girl group in a team challenge, I was hoping that one team won and the other team lost. And then within that team, who was on the top and who was on the bottom. That's how I was hoping that it would go. And with the teams being stacked like this, what were your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, I assume like that's what would happen. That one team would be safe and one team would not be, and they would judge from the 6-5 remaining. But I think that's just been changing the last couple of years with Drag Race. They're not really going that route.
Unless it was like one of those group challenges that one group performs. Like I think they did it for All Stars 4, where they performed with Stacey Matthews, and they did one group, and then they got them off the stage, and then the other group came out, and I think that they judged the groups individually. But this one was all like, it was just a smorgasbord of all these people on stage, and it was whoever stood out and stayed in character, that was your tops, and the people that didn't, those were your bottoms. And like all that choreo, no shit that people didn't do their lyrics. They're probably like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like,
yeah. I'm a bit torn by that because on one hand, I'm happy that they judged individually because I think that there are people on both teams who rightfully should have been in the bottom. However, there is something to be said about great TV. Like, say, you know, one team does win, but there's a clear person on that team who was shit. You know what I mean? But they're safe because they're part of the safe team. Like, that makes for great TV.
100%.
I can see it either way. I don't know where I stand on that yet, personally.
I guess for me, it makes the stakes so low. Like, it's kind of like, whatever, I just need to stand out. Who cares about my team? And that, for me, takes away from it being a team challenge. I think the challenge is having a good, cohesive team, that we win together. We'll do this together. I'll help you. You know what I mean? Like, I'll work to make sure that you're better. Like, so the team will do better collectively, as opposed to like, nah, you know what? We're going to be judged individually anyways. So who cares if you flop? Because as long as I shine, then this team doesn't matter.
Yep.
And so if it's going to be a team, judge them as a team. If it's not, like, if it's going to be individual, like, have everybody do it all together. Like, I don't know. I just feel that if it's a team challenge,
but like also with the team challenges comes the draft picks, or like the picks for it. So the high school pick, or is it called a high school pick, or just like a
schoolyard draft?
Schoolyard, there you go. And then that causes drama as well, because they're also having to like rap battle and talk shit about the other team. So that kind of it's like they're creating the drama just so that they have like a storyline, and it created a storyline. Like, Alona was upset that she didn't get picked.
I mean, that's pretty sad. That sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. But like, she got picked for Canada's Drag Race, so that's something. So she did not get.
And she's funny. She's one of the narrators of the season. I would say her, Lemon, and Priyanka have the most confessionals, I'd say.
Probably.
Yeah, the most. So I think that the producers love her as well. So I think her being picked last, it goes with her story, and I think that she's going to, you know, come out of it on top. You know, I think she's going to do well, or decently well. I like the names of the groups, so the Dwalls and the Moose Knuckles, which I think is the grossest thing ever. Like, it's so disgusting. It's worse than hearing Camel Toe. Like, Moose Knuckle is okay. What do you think is better, Moose Knuckle or Camel Toe?
I think they're on par.
Moose Knuckle's better.
Yeah.
But camel, but you know what I love is when people get tattoos of camels on their toes. Like,
the thing?
That's a thing, yeah.
It's not a thing.
I don't know. I thought it was a thing.
Moose Knuckle's so gross.
I think there's a bar called Moose Knuckles in Toronto too, on like the East End. I remember seeing one.
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google it.
Oh, I hate that.
I hate it.
So what do you guys think about the drama? Actually, you guys might have some intel between Scarlett Bobo and Boa. That kind of started trickling in a little bit. Boa is kind of saying that he wants to drag, or she wants to drag Bobo in the battle. And then it seems like it's not gonna be that well received a little bit later on by Bobo.
Sort of touched on that. Like, they love each other. Like, they're friends. They've been like friends for a while. So, and like Scarlett says later, she does book Boa, and they're Boa going after her in the lyrics. That's just something that she's just trying to do because she's like, that's my friend. Like, she like, but I think Bobo is getting a little. She's been safe a lot, so she wants to like try to be.
I think she wants some praise. She's used to being like the top dog, everyone loving her, being the star of the show, and she still is. It's not like Bo is taking that away from her. But I think her frustration was the fact that when she did go to Boa, saying like, I don't know what she was talking to her about, but she was getting like comedy back and not reassurance or some love. And maybe Boba was just kind of like, hey, Boa, be real with me, instead of like making it television.
Yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest. Like, it was very unclear to me. I don't know if I was like missing parts or if I just forgot stuff from like their Untucked or whatever. But like, I feel like I didn't really see that conflict happening. It must have happened behind the scenes, or maybe it was just a slow build. I didn't feel like either one of them was particularly being like offensive or getting on each other's ass, but that could have been something that was sort of underlying because they are great friends outside of the show, that maybe that was something that they could tell was wrong with the dynamic. But it remains to be seen for me personally.
Literally seen, yeah. We literally haven't seen it.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was a little out of left field, but maybe they're building up to it in future episodes.
Well, there's some sort of plot brewing, because they wouldn't have just like thrown that in there if it wasn't something. So yeah, it's.
I mean, Rita made it pretty clear that she does think that the Toronto Queens can be quite a bit cattier, and like literally she's holding Kiara's hand while talking about it. I thought that was so sweet. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess that's the case.
Well, I don't know who said it. I don't know if it was in a confessional or who said it at all, but someone mentioned that maybe, you know, with Scarlett always getting the praise, that there might have been a little bit of jealousy that she maybe doesn't feel as though Boa's drag is that, you know, high end and established. And so it's kind of like, maybe their dynamic is different, because like Scarlett maybe is used to always being up here and Bobo being down here, and the fact that they're kind of leveled out, maybe she doesn't even know how to act around her anymore, because it's kind of like, this is not what I know and understand. It's not to say that she wants her to do poorly, no, but like she just maybe isn't used to having them be on the same playing field. And I kind of agree with that. That's a very big possibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's difficult. Well, it's when you see somebody who doesn't usually get praise a lot, getting praise, you should be able to support that and be like more of like, awesome, you are doing a good job. But when there's $100,000 on the line and you brought and invested, all these queens, see, they've been wanting to have a drag race forever. Canada's always wanted to be on there. We were never able to be on the American show, but now we have our own. So when it comes here, everyone's going full throttle into it. Then all of a sudden, there's only going to be one winner, and they like all have to realize.
That we know of.
Yeah.
Like you all get it. There you go. Very, very Canadian. Everyone wins.
Yeah, that's the
everybody
thing.
Wins. Participation trophy for you.
Oh God.
Yeah, so it's hard for them to like. Everyone's gonna get kicked off, and it's gonna be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of them. But this is such a great platform for whatever you do on that show. You can make it after the show. Become bigger and use this.
100%. Some more mirror talk, and this is where Bianca was kind of talking about her experience with her father and you know, her drag work, and telling her father that his girlfriend is a girl named Priyanka, which I think is interesting. Can you guys relate at all to having these mirror moments? And what do you don't have to share obviously if you don't want to, but like do you have a mirror moment that you might share, like if you were on the show?
Oh, if I was on the show, 100%, I'm sure.
Not now, though.
Not right now. God, no.
Related to that topic. Are you saying related to that topic, or are you saying related just in general? Like, what would our mirror moment be?
Well, because it seems that, so, you know, everybody has an opportunity to bring out something that they want to share that kind of allows us to be endeared to them. Obviously, you don't have to share anything, but do you have a moment for yourself that you may bring through, like for...
Sure. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I would talk about the kidney cancer. That's what I would talk about. For sure. I would bring that up and how like scary and how shitty that was. But I'd also talk about not coming out to my family until I was 33.
Oh my God. What do they think?
Well, it was just like, it was this unspoken thing. Like I know, like once I came out, I was like auditioning for Big Brother, like season 2. Season 1, my storyline for Big Brother was going to be, I am coming out on national television. I was going to do that. That was a big
like Ellen.
Like that, yeah, I'm gay. But like, but that was my moment. I was like, no, if I'm going to be on Big Brother, I want to be 100% me. I want to be authentic. And like, so I told my mom and dad over spaghetti dinner, and like, it was great. It was great. But they were. So the funny thing is about my parents were that they were not ready. I don't think that they were ready to accept having a gay son. Like, I think that they needed to watch more reality TV. I think that they needed to see more gay characters on TV. Like when my mom said that she watched all of 6 Feet Under, I was like, she's ready.
That was also like 20 years ago, Pez. So
Yeah, I'm an old man.
35 years ago.
kidding, I'm kidding.
I watched all of 6 Feet Under.
I was just gonna say, I definitely have one of those moments. I feel like everyone probably has one of those moments. And I think you definitely should have narrowed it down if you're gonna be on national television. For me, in respect to like my parents, I don't have that same sort of story as Priyanka. My parents have both been very accepting in terms of me being queer. So thank God. I know that's not the case for a lot of people. It's been a little more difficult for them to get on board with like the idea of drag because I don't think they fully understand it in the way that I do.
Yeah.
But that being said, they're still not opposed to it whatsoever. I just think it doesn't quite click with them.
Yeah.
Just to ease my curiosity, what has made you want to step into the world of drag? Like, where's that drive from to want to pursue that?
So, I mean, as I was saying earlier when you introduced me, I obviously have a theater background. So I've always loved performing and sort of challenging myself in how I do perform, if that makes sense.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm not a visual artist, but I've always been very, very like mathematical and very precise when it comes to writing stuff down or even like building things. And so I felt like it was the perfect amalgamation of like theater and design and sort of just being like, again, I don't want to say obsessive compulsive because I don't want to make light of that.
Are you a Virgo?
Tendency. I'm a Virgo rising, but not a Virgo. Yeah, I guess also I just wasn't seeing the kind of drag that this is gonna sound like shade, but it's really not. But I just thought that there was sort of a part of drag that I wasn't seeing necessarily in Toronto specifically that I thought that I could sort of fill that niche. And it's the kind of drag that speaks to me, a lot of like comedy and theatrics and like a story being told within a number as opposed to just like playing the top Ariana Grande song, which is a very valid form of drag. And some people do that very well, but that's just not me. And so I felt like more of this sort of New York City style of drag where you're telling a story and there's like I don't know. I like that kind of drag for me personally.
It's
I like being
more like a one-woman show type drag.
I mean, one day, eventually, I would love to. I don't know if I have enough of that. The same thing for like a musical theater cabaret. I don't know if I necessarily have enough material to fill out that chunk of time, but that's the goal. And I'd like to be able to have a well-rounded show or a bunch of different numbers that showcase my talents. So yeah, that's what I like about drag, and that's why I wanted to sort of produce that kind of drag myself, personally.
It's definitely similar to the type of drag that I like. I like the show element. I want to be a drag queen to put on a one-woman show where I get to do everything and look gorgeous doing it. Like, that's the dream, right? Like, dress up, look really pretty, sing, dance, act, tell a couple jokes, and bow. Like, so
and not even sing, you just lip sync. That's even the best part, even if you can't sing. That's awesome.
Do both. We've been talking about we're probably going to do a snatch game at some point. I guess maybe on week 5 is usually what it is. So a couple weeks from now, do you have a snatch game character that you might play?
Goldfish. Me personally? No, I have a few ideas that I've been tossing around. I don't know if any of them would go over very well. I was gonna do like
don't do it.
Don't do it. Salad fingers, if you guys remember salad fingers.
Yeah, excellent.
I think that'd be like a really cool special effects makeup moment and also just like a really interesting throwback character. But again, I don't know how well that would work. Also, Greta Thunberg.
Amazing. Yeah.
But I don't want to give away too many ideas. And again, they're not fully realized ideas quite yet. I also kind of want to dive into like more Canadian characters, since obviously that would be sort of the circumstances surrounding me possibly even doing a snatch game. So We'll see.
Greta, that's such a funny choice. That's...
Well, mine is I'm probably gonna do Whoopi Goldberg because I've been told I look like Whoopi Goldberg since I was a little girl, and so I was like, I might as well go with that. Jojo, who you were gonna do again?
I have no idea. I'm gonna have to think about it too, because I think I'm gonna be in Nova Scotia in 2 weeks, so I have to bring something with me. I'll just do Miley.
I don't know.
Easy.
Right. I said Kathy Bates from Misery.
Right.
Like I would just wear flannel and I'll just be like, you dirty bird.
Yeah, dirty bird.
I'm just not gonna do it.
I can't. I hope that they do it on week 5, because I love the Snatch Game, and I hope that they're funny. I really do, because we haven't really seen, like, we've seen a little bit of the comedy with the heritage moments. But I want to see a little bit more of people's comedy personalities come out. So Debra Cox is the judge of the week. I thought she looked great. I thought she could have worn a little bit more makeup, like have a little pop of red on the lips or something. I thought she looked gorgeous, but I thought she could have like just stepped it up. You know, she's on a drag show, so put on some lashes, you know, or something like that. But I thought she did look pretty. Fun fact, she went to the same high school as me. She's older, but she did go to Earl Haig Secondary School, Claude Watson program like I did. And Arista Cox, but they're not related if I'm not mistaken.
I love Arista.
Yes, we grew up together, but she's older than me by 1 year. So, yes, I wish that that they maybe had like some sort of better outfits and costumes for the guest host. Like I didn't feel as though she banned enough, even though she looked pretty. What do you guys think about having her as a guest? Do you know all of her songs?
Yeah. How did you get here? No one's supposed to be here.
I love her. I'm actually not like very knowledgeable about like her whole repertoire aside from her hits, to be honest.
Yeah. I
did think she looked really good on the runway, but I just think compared to the other judges, they sort of ate her up. Like they were serving looks. Yeah. I have no problem with her. I thought she looked great, so.
Like a solid B+,
Yeah, I mean, it could be better, but also like, I don't fucking know. It was cold,
Do we know where they were like filming, like where the stage studio? Yeah.
Hamilton,
right?
Hamilton. Okay.
And I don't know if I'm supposed
Good
to,
old Hamilton.
but there was no heat. There was no heat, so everyone was freezing. So anytime you see them backstage wrapped in blankets, there's a reason for that. Or like in the first episode when one of the crew members comes to help Juice, she's wearing like a jacket and a toque, which it's cold. It's really cold.
It's snowing.
Those Americans that don't know what a toque is, a beanie.
Yeah, a beanie.
Yeah, like a hat. I don't know, winter hat.
It's a toque. We know what a toque is.
The funny thing is that everyone's been like talking. I've seen a lot of comments online about like other people's podcasts, such as like American drag queens talking about Canada, and like also this is a word of advice to those queens. Be nicer, because you know what, we embraced you for a while, so now you're gonna embrace us. That's what
okay.
What kind of mean are they being?
I know that they like were reading Boa at the very beginning. I know that they're just been like, we're talking about Raja and we're talking about Raven. Like they're going in, and then also Manila and Latrice have a podcast, and they don't know some of the Canadian heritage stuff, so they don't understand. But they got a lot of shit on their first episode. So then when I listened to their the one about the I Smell Burnt Toast, the Heritage Minutes, they ended up researching what that was so that people wouldn't come for them.
Good.
Later on. So they're listening and they're learning.
Well, I've listened to a couple of them and they are pretty mean, but Americans in general aren't as easygoing and kind, we'll say, as Canadians are collectively. And so, I mean, they're a little bit more biting. Like that's part of their patriotism. Is that like, we're American, we're proud, we're better. Canadians, they're lower than us. They're stupid. They live in igloos. Like, so, I mean, I just kind of let them be who they are. If they don't understand what's going on in Canada, they can make fun of it. Like,
Sure.
it's giving them material. So I don't know. I don't mind them hating on it that much.
Also, I feel like we're still going through our growing pains, which is the same as like any Canadian version of a franchise. Like, give us a season just to figure out the kinks, you know, and hopefully it's renewed for a second season.
Yeah.
And then, you know, we thrive generally.
Absolutely. And season
Not
one.
looking at Canada's Next Top Model, but in general, we thrive.
Well, season 1 of RuPaul's Drag Race wasn't great. So, you know, like, relax. But I actually think that it's different, but I think it's quite enjoyable, and it's entertaining, and it has all the elements that I enjoy of RuPaul's Drag Race in it. So the comparison at this point, I think it's a separate entity. So we were looking at both the queens on the stage, and I felt that they looked like, this is gonna age me, but Gem and the Holograms and the Misfits. Like, I thought that the groups, they were just so much color, and like, we're the Misfits, our songs are better, you know, and like, I loved the looks of everybody. I thought everybody looked amazing.
Yeah.
Collectively. What do you guys think? No?
They were
Talking
all
about
cute.
performance costumes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to pull up the photos of everyone. From what I can remember, everyone looked really good. I feel like there was a bit more consistency and more of a through line with Lemon's group, like Lemon, Jimbo, Nomi, coming in like essentially mostly all black, and then with a colored wig to sort of stand out. I think that was a little more effective, a little more cohesive, rather, or both. But I don't think anyone looked like outwardly bad on that stage for the performance. So.
Well, except Starzy was the only person that I really noticed didn't know the choreo. Every time, like, maybe that's the editing and that's what they were showing, but like, she just always looked like she was just standing there, like, kind of like looking around and not really knowing what was going on. And so I thought that was strange that she didn't know the choreo better. I know that, like, when she was practicing, she didn't seem to be picking it up that quickly, but like, you're on the stage now, like, what's happening?
Yeah, I felt like she just didn't know a lot of the choreo, whereas I felt Alona appeared to know it, just wasn't able to execute it on time, on the beat as well.
Right.
Like, those were the two that for me really stood out. I feel like the producers definitely did Jimbo a favor, because I feel like they went to like a few shots of them just trying to, like, you could tell that they were in their brains thinking about what was coming next, and then it was just next clip, like different queen. So I don't know. Those were the three for me that I really felt like sort of dropped the choreo.
Absolutely. And I think Bo a little bit, like, I think that she brought a lot of personality, but I did see that she kind of fumbled the choreo a little bit in some of the shots. And so I wasn't sure if the personality part was going to outweigh the fact that she kind of fumbled a bit in the choreo from what I saw.
It did.
Not really. So, but I was saying that I got all smiles. I got goosebumps when they came on the stage. I thought there was, like, I don't know, there was a lot of energy. I loved watching the show of it as a collective. I like performance, so I was into it. So what do you think about the runway challenge, Quebecy with the good hair?
Such a good title. Come on.
Down.
So good.
Some of the looks worked. Like, I'm a huge fan of Adam's Family. I love that. Cousin Nick came out, and all of a sudden she turned around. I was like, that does not go together. What? I didn't understand. There's two looks that are so different, but you know what? You're given a choice. It has to be a hair product. Like, actually, it has to be a hair outfit. What are you gonna do? Like, what can you do? So you have to, like, make some of those. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work.
I don't know. I think a lot of them were confused by the runway itself. I think some people went with just focusing on their wigs, and some people made a garment out of wigs. And I don't think it was clear that what the actual runway was to be.
Agreed.
If that makes sense.
I agree. I think that despite like the cute name, it was unclear whether it was just meant to be like big hair, like big wig, like that's supposed to be the focus of your outfit, or if it was, a full look made of hair.
Yeah.
I think that was unclear. But that being said, I do like seeing like the different interpretations, and that people weren't restricted to one or the other. But again, it was a little murky.
I'm thinking that however the queens were going to be interpreting it was the right way. I think it's like, this is a hair challenge, showcase hair. Yeah. And I think that they got to do whatever they wanted to do. And they probably thought that they're stepping outside of the box doing like hair garments. What do you think about Nomi's look? Because I know even after the fact, she's talked about she's still loving it, et cetera, et cetera. How'd you guys feel?
So I really disliked it on the stage, but she posted on Instagram of like a photo shoot of her in the dress, and it looks so much better. And honestly, I think had she just cinched or had something to pull it together in the middle and show her body, I think it would have been a lot more successful. I actually quite liked the hair hat. Yes, exactly. I think Mike is down there holding it up. I thought that it looked really good in the photos, and I see what she was trying to accomplish. I also agree with the judges. The body was lost there, and it did look a little cheaper under the lights. I also think that when she did her reveal, that the undergarment looked so much better, personally, because it was form-fitting. It was simple, but it looked great. And I think had she done, had it cinched, the upper layer, revealed on the runway, I think it would have been a better presentation, and she might not have to lip sync.
Yeah, and you see the judges' faces when she does the lip sync later, shakes it off, and they're like, oh. Like,
why didn't you wear that?
Right?
But that would have been awesome if she did like a little turn and take off that, the colorful one and be in her little kind of flapper girl style 20s little hair dress. Mm-hmm. I think that I'm such a fan of Nomi. She's also on my team, and I think she needs a pep talk from somebody, because as a dancer, watching her she wasn't doing performance level dancing, and I didn't understand why. If she's danced for, even when she had to lip sync in the end, like I didn't feel that she was still giving like 12 out of 10 of energy. Like, where's that 120% that we're always told to do when you're at performance level? Like, finish those movements, like emote to the audience. I feel like there's like kind of like a haze behind what she's doing, and like I know that she has it to be like 10 times more fierce than she's coming across. I think she needs someone to like hype her up, because she's great.
Not bad at it.
What's going on? You know her, right, Goldfish?
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, we all know that she can slay, and she's an amazing performer. She just exudes like charisma when she is performing. I think for me personally watching it, I do see that she's very much in her head. And I think, even just having yourself be placed in the bottom is already such a mind fuck. So to watch her sort of try to navigate that, and then of course have to perform and lip sync for her life, I think that is what the disconnect is here. I do think that she is giving her all, but she's also fighting that sort of self-consciousness and that insecurity that she's feeling for being in the bottom, So I get the struggle, and I'm just disappointed that the world is not getting to see, what we saw the second lip sync at the very least, seeing her really fight and show what she can do and what she is capable of.
I think I'm petitioning to the show. I'm like, I would love to be an entertainment coach that helps like elevate these queens, so they know that like part of their excellence is going to be in their mindset and like getting out of this negative self-talk that's preventing them from shining, and like the hesitancy from shining, because they don't want to have them be told that they're not good, so they're holding back. And it's a competition show. And it's a show where you are showing yourself and your heart, and it's really personal, and the vulnerability that it takes to go up there, I respect it 100%. But I think that, they need to learn how to perform in spite of the fear of maybe being told that they didn't enjoy what was being offered.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for them as well, because then they have to go back to their hotel room and they're locked into sequester. They don't get to like sit around and be like, oh, okay, like, let's chill out and like just chill with each other. No, because they're on camera all the time. They gotta be like on, and then they go back to the room and sit by themselves and they get tape across the door and can't leave. So it's like, that's too much. That might be just.
I wanna be the one taping their doors, but while I'm taping it, I'm like, you are worthy. You're doing so well in this competition.
You are amazing.
You're amazing.
No, I would send your stuff in and be like, can I be like a liaison for the queens?
But they also want people, like, as awful as it sounds, at home, they want to see conflict, they want to see struggle, they want to see a natural discovery of, I can do this, I'm doing great. Or they want to see someone go home.
I love people that are confident, that get up there and slay it and know that they're slaying it. You get goosebumps, you cry, like
we do, but not everyone does.
But because they don't get to see it all the time, like you always know the good performances. You always know the performances. You're like, wow, like, oh my God, this has to be. They both have to stay because they're both so amazing. Like, when the performances are good. You don't have to have a entertainment background to know when they're fire.
Yeah.
And so it just would be nice that if they had someone that was guiding them a little bit on bringing that out. Just they're by themselves over there. Yeah. Like a little bit of support. Very
Canadian. Very nice.
Sorry. I was surprised by Boa's look. She looked gorgeous up here, and then she had her reveal of her Borat bodysuit, bathing suit with kneading of a wax. I was with it.
That merkin.
All wax.
I like the idea, to be honest. I thought it was very successful. Obviously, there's parts of it that I think could have been like elevated, but again, you have to remember that like a lot of these queens are going into this with not so much money, and they're just trying to make do with what they have. I think the concept was there, and I think that again, I think she has a niche for being able to deliver a story down the runway. You know what I mean? I don't know if she did as much. It was mainly just a reveal, but there is sort of a charisma that she exudes that is compelling.
Yep.
And I know that a lot of people are dragging her because they're like, it's just like a fucking one piece with the wig sticking out, but like, it's funny, and it's a different kind of drag. And I think she was beat for filth. I think it was an effective reveal. Again, I think things could have been like elevated, but I still think the idea was there and that it wasn't the worst of the bunch.
Oh God, no.
No, and like when they do naked drag, like when you do that naked body and you're padded, that's very hard to look good.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that she looked good naked, I'm like, she did a really good job, and that's hard because I remember they did a naked challenge in episode 1 of season 7, and they had to do that, and some of them didn't look very good at all, and they're like weird, like naked bodies, and I'm like, Boa, you look good, babe. She looks good.
Mm-hmm.
When Kiara came out, I was like, no, not another gold lame bell-bottom jumpsuit. You saw what happened to Kind.
Yeah, she fully got sewered by Kind doing that first, because there's no way that she would have known that Kind was going to make that, and that she had to pull out the exact same look, 2 weeks later. But what can you do?
Why?
I think that's an example of the interpretation of like Quebecy with the good hair being like just a big old wig, as opposed to a look that sort of incorporated the hair as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I liked her head, and I love the gigantic afro, but we all have PTSD from that gold lame jumpsuit. Like, nobody was going to be accepting that. Like, regardless of, it was a better jumpsuit, I thought, than Kind's was, but it didn't show any creativity, and I think that that's pretty much what she's getting dragged on by the judges about, is that there's no seemingly creativity in her looks that she's been giving. They're kind of they might be editorial in the sense that they're kind of commercial.
Sure.
That was an oxymoron, I guess. Can't be editorial and commercial, but kind of like a magazine worthy and commercial. But I don't feel like they're elevated, in my opinion. And I think that that's where they want her to go. I thought all of her looks have been kind of lackluster.
I thought her face was gorgeous though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her makeup was really nice.
I want her to do better because she is on my team and she is pretty funny sometimes.
Yeah, she's great. I thought she was great last week.
But her looks need some work. A lot of work. Who else do we have here?
Jimbo.
Jimbo.
That was
Jimbo look.
I just wrote wow. Like that was my note when he came out. I was like, that the body looked amazing. But all that hair, it was like I said it was like Tina Turner, like Beyond Thunderdome, but like it's not. Like it was just like it was so elevated and like he had 11 wigs on. Awesome.
And that's an effective way of like, again, having a bunch of wigs on your garment, but still being able to showcase, you know, your figure and actually using the wigs behind you as a way to, again, show like, bam. I thought it was very effective for both, again, a big wig, if that's your interpretation, and also a garment that's made of wigs as well.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I mean, I don't even know if it was actually attached to the garment, to be honest, or if it was just a bunch of wigs sewn into each other. I thought it was attached.
11 wigs.
11 wigs. Was it attached to the garment? That's what I thought. That's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
So.
Otherwise, it should be.
Yeah, exactly. It's just pulling your head back.
And it reminded me kind of one of Cher's looks, you know, with like the nude and all this harnesses. And it's funny for me too with Jimbo that I don't necessarily feel as he's a sexy queen, but then like he was pretty sexy, or she was pretty sexy today.
Yeah.
So yeah, because he's, you know, coming off goofy sometimes, and like that's kind of how she has presented herself in the beginning, but then seeing her these big boobies and like look, I like that that they are kind of tipping the toe with kind of humor, as then, you know, Jessica positioned with sexy.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think of Jimbo as sexy.
Jimbo's is turning into like the fan favorite right now.
Absolutely.
Turning into like initially right away, first episode.
The comments I've been talking to, like, I don't have a lot to say to a lot of people other than how's your quarantine and like all that, and how's COVID been for you. But when I talk about Drag Race, people are like, I love Jimbo. That's like the second thing that everyone's got. So like, yeah, Jimbo, if you're watching, you're liked.
He's definitely a hit. I didn't particularly love lemon tree bulb head thing, bark body. I don't know. I didn't love that. I think she always looks gorgeous. But I didn't like the look.
It didn't scream hair to me. It just looked like her hair was up with a tree. I liked the idea of the bark dress.
You have a thing for bark body.
No, I do.
I didn't think it was effective. I didn't think the pattern of the bark was bold enough to show on stage.
There you go. Yeah.
I think, you know, had there been, I don't know, just some way of showing it more clearly. At first, I didn't even realize that it was meant to be bark. I like the concept. I do think it could be refined. Yeah. And you're right. She always does look pretty regardless. So fuck her.
Yeah.
But.
I think maybe
Jojo,
if she did like
explain what your thing is with bark bodies, because she was into Blair St. Clair's tree legs.
Well, that's the thing. I would have loved to see a jumpsuit on Lemon, to give like that length, even like a little pencil pant as a bodysuit, but no belt. I think the belt cut up, like the fact that it was cutting it up. I didn't love that. I would have liked a tree house. Or some holes, like maybe some like Death Become Her holes right here, like a little hollow thing, or an owl, anything to make it a little more tree-like. Maybe some like flowered shoes, I don't know. I love the idea, just didn't happen for me.
I think the only way that I would like the idea is if the person had the money to like go 100% with it. Like I want like roots climbing and twisting down their legs and like
perfect
out here. Like I want it to look like she's been joking about like Groot's sexy mother because of Jimbo's comment. And I feel like, yes, had she gone full force with like just like roots and like branches and like looking fierce with the lemons here, I think that would have been a little more effective. But again,
it was bigger.
They're working within their means, and I think that would be a good redemption outfit to redo.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question. Goldfish, what would you have done
for this runway specifically for hair?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Had I had a few months to think about it and talk to I'd probably think of a concept. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I want to say like really hairy fish and just like have a fish head, like have that be like think of like a horse's mane, except have it be like a fish's fin. But this is just off the top.
Oh yeah.
I don't actually know if I would go with that idea. But
I think I'd go bald.
Speaking of that fish, how'd you come up with your name?
I mean, honestly, it was a bit of a combination of a bunch of different ideas. The very base level is just, the saying, the snack that smiles back. I figured that's me. I'm a snack, and sometimes I'll smile back. But on a deeper level, I just thought about like the nostalgia that everyone has with Goldfish, or at least that I have with Goldfish. Growing up, and even still to this day, when I was living overseas, one of the only things that I could get at the grocery store that reminded me of home was Goldfish. And so in terms of how I approach performing, a lot of it is sort of like nostalgic in terms of the music that I like to choose, or a lot of throwbacks, or a lot of references in pop culture that are a little more dated, so to speak. And sort of the idea that like everyone has like, I don't know, maybe like your best friend's older sister who you had a crush on when you were younger, and now she's all like grown up and like sexier and smarter, or like, I don't know, your babysitter when you were growing up. Just that sort of like nostalgia, except now she's like older and mature, and she's a feminist and she knows what she wants. She's not afraid of being goofy. It's all just kind of Goldfish wrapped up. So it's a little scatterbrained, but that's generally where I got the idea from.
And if Goldfish was a flavor, what would she taste like?
Goldfish?
She would taste sweet at first, a little salty upon chewing. I don't know where I'm going with this. Sweet, salty, and just a mouthful of flavor, a great mouthfeel.
Perfect. I'm just trying to come up with your cocktail right now.
Oh, a cocktail? Okay. Well, we'll revisit that then.
we'll talk about that after. But I'm getting. This is like my process of when I make a cocktail. I
would say strong and well balanced. You can definitely taste the liquor, but you like it.
And I'm obviously going to make it an orange drink. But like,
I'm a big fan of like a paper plane, which is very like tangerine orangey in color. I like to be able to taste the liquor, but have it be unassuming. You don't know how drunk you're gonna get until you're 4 paper planes in, and you're really
you're like,
got
get here. Nobody's gonna be here. What do you guys think of Priyanka's? What do you guys think of Priyanka's look? Like the judges praised it, but I was like an 8 out of 10 about it. I was like,
I liked it. I just wish that the hair had continued around the back and it was a full hair skirt moment. Again, I think had the girls had more time or maybe more resources, they could have pulled together and sort of done things that refined the looks. But in terms of the concept, I absolutely loved it. I wish I fucking had it. I really want to recreate that look without stealing it. But I liked it. I thought she did really well. And I think she warranted the win between the look and her performance.
Yeah.
I thought it was very well
Like she came out and she sold the garbage. She did like a little squat. She did the little walk, you know, and she she went fast. She even said that she was going to do like faster than the last look where she was the slowest walk ever. So yeah, she did a good job on that.
I think there's a big difference between the American queens and the Canadian queens when it comes to the runway. The Canadians really perform and put on a story or a show while they're out there. My only note for Priyanka would have been to do orange on this side of her face and not just blue. It was the only thing that kind of took me out of it a little bit.
So you wanted it swapped?
No, I just wanted not too blue. I like her eyeshadows. Her eyeshadow was both like, it was both blue. I'm like, oh,
I see what you're talking about. I thought she did different eyes, but now I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was my only like.
Agreed.
Oh, that would have been so good.
That
or
would
even like a lip, anything.
Yeah,
Nails,
that would have been fun. I mean, that probably would have made me more excited about it because I thought it looked really good. I thought it was a nice look. I thought her runway was great. It just wasn't like a bam. Nobody really was a super wow. I think actually Jimbo was the most wow in my opinion for me.
Alona was wow.
Vega, what?
Alona was incredible.
Oh, Alona. I see we haven't gotten there yet. It's on the other next page.
Yes.
Sorry, I haven't gotten to that page yet.
Rita, I loved Rita's look.
Yeah, I thought she was good too.
I liked that it was like
complementary colors because like that's a memorable combination for sure.
Yeah. My only thing was I would have hoped that instead of using that white tulle, she could have used like a white wig. I would have liked a little bit of a more wig on her outfit, but I get the concept. I think she really did just focus on the wig, and I thought she looked amazing.
Scarlett Bobo.
Yeah, I love you guys. Oh wait, can I just say something quickly about Priyanka's looks? The reason that I thought that she had a different colored eyes because after the fact in her photo shoot that she did adjust. So I think she knew.
She knew.
Yeah. She knew. Bobo's look, I really liked. Obviously the wig.
Yeah.
I love the gag of the dry ice moment. I did like the outfit. I do feel again it was like more on the basic side, but they were right in saying that it was effective and that she like split up the sides with the white and it helped with the figure as opposed to just getting muffled the way that like Nomi did, unfortunately. But again, I still think if they had more time and more resources, hopefully they would have embellished a bit more. But I liked it. And the the presentation was phenomenal. Again.
I thought she was pretty fun on the runway. I thought that the Bobo hair was a little bit crafty. You know, it's like, you know, let's wire some hair around some, you know, I don't know. It was a little bit crafty. Cute in the sense that, you know, it's recognizable and she's Bobo, she's a clown. I like the button, like the pom-poms. Maybe it could have been more cohesive color-wise, but like I did like the pom-poms. It kind of alluded to the Bobo clowniness of her. I thought that she got more praise for the look than she deserved for it personally, but I do think that she resolved the hair better than Nomi did. So I do agree with the judges on that point. You guys loved it or what?
Yeah.
I didn't understand the smoke at the beginning. Like it was like she just took a bong hit and then just opened her mouth. She got hot and she just came out.
That makes so much sense to me. I thought it was hilarious, but
yeah, I don't know. But like that's her look, and the hair was made by Helena Poison. Yeah, another. The hair was made by Helena Poison. I might have to go.
Popular.
It's gonna go off, so I'm gonna turn off my sound.
Really? Like so random. Okay. So we also have Ilona, as we were talking about, and I'd say save the best for last because her powder blue poodle outfit was bing. Like I thought it was so good. I loved it. I thought she looked beautiful. I thought it was cohesive. It was like
she's bringing the fashions and the concepts.
Yeah.
Like I have loved all of her looks that I can think of thus far. I haven't had any complaints really. So
agreed.
Incredible.
Jojo,
loved it.
So that's when we learned they're going to judge the groups, the people individually in the groups, and that's when I was like, oh darn! And like I got really worried at this point for Nomi. I was like, are they just trying to make her go home on Debra Cox's like guest host day? Like I was upset about this because I don't feel that she did the worst in her group. I don't. And I think that they kind of pulled her. I don't know. I just didn't think that it was right.
I didn't think she did the worst in her group, no. But I wasn't really blown away by any of their performances during the group numbers. I thought it was a great number. Even like when Rita came out and started singing, I was like, yeah, that's awesome, but this is a rap battle. Like it was like rap battle featuring Rita.
So the same.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
For me, I feel like the way that Nomi sort of fucked up her runway look was the same way that Ilona fucked up her performance. Right. You know, I think Ilona killed her runway look, and I think Nomi did a pretty good job of her performance. I don't think there was anything that I could personally complain about. She hit the choreo, she knew her words. I think she performed it well. I think that the biggest factor here in deciding the bottom was obviously, you know, Ilona's performance worse than Nomi's look? In my opinion, I think that Ilona should have been in the bottom just based off the fact that when it came down to the performance, she wasn't there. No matter how good you look, like the performance wasn't there. Yep. Nomi's runway, again, we already said, I don't think it was her best look, but I don't think it was as bad as Ilona's performance to warrant her being in the bottom, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and so with the queens that were safe were Jimbo, Lemon, and Rita. And so they had, I guess it was 7 queens that were on the bottom, I think it was. Like there was, or like tops and
top
bottom.
and bottom, yeah.
But so Kiara actually like slid into having the 3rd worst look. So Ilona wasn't even the 3rd worst, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
But well, I thought it was more like top 2 and then bottom.
5 bottoms.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Goldfish?
Just that I've been having issues with the judging. I mean, for the most part, I think they've been correct in where like people should be on the spectrum of good or bad, but some of their like top choices rather, and bottom choices for me have felt a little off. I'm hoping that they'll sort of refine that as they go on. But
what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean like they're judges? Do you feel like they're too critical? Do you feel like they're too what they're judging that you find?
For this week, I need to go back through. I definitely should have been writing everything down.
Because like the reason why I bring that up as well, because I saw somebody have a post and say that they find that the Canadian judges to be too harsh on the girls.
Yeah, so I do think that their delivery is a little harsh, but that's not really so much what I'm being critical about. Like, for instance, in the first week, if we're talking specifically about Boa, I believe her outfit was high. Now, I don't think her outfit should have been high, but I wasn't railing on it the same way that a lot of people are. I don't think she should have been in the bottom that first week, and I'm glad that she wasn't. I think that she was, you know, a very comfortable safe. But to have Boa be high, I'm like, okay, that's where I start to question their judgment. Same thing with Kine even being in the bottom last week. Like, I don't feel her outfit was bad enough to warrant that, especially when her performance I thought was fairly good. Her like, move, I'm gay. Like, I loved that moment, and I thought, you know, she knew her lines in that skit. I know that we're talking about last week and not this week, but just little things like that where I feel like, you know, on the whole, their judgments are mostly correct, but I feel like there's little placements here and there that I'm like, she shouldn't have been high, she should have been safe, or she shouldn't have been safe, she should have been in the bottom. Things like that. 100%. In terms of their delivery, they are a little cruel with how they're giving their feedback and a little less constructive. Personally, I think Stacey thus far has given the best feedback in terms of like stuff that the queens can actually use to their benefit and like try to improve on. But yeah, that's my take on it anyway.
No, it's been
So
My take on it is I think that things will change for the next season, because this was all shot before the new climate of, supporting diverse voices. I do feel as though that the queens of color seem to have to do a little bit more just to stay alive in the game. Like all the 3 bottom queens this week were all the queens of color. And I just don't know if they will still be looking at everybody through the same lens next season. Right now, they probably thinking that's the audience, that's what the producers want, that's what the network wants. And, that's not going to be the same narrative that's going to be next season when they're going to be judging. So I think that, I don't know, I definitely have not agreed at all with their tops and their bottoms, maybe with their safes, but I was always like, oh, they're on top, oh, they're on bottom. And I definitely haven't personally agreed. And so I feel as though it might be because the network or the producers of the show have been like, no, we want them to stay. No, the audience would prefer that person to go. And I think that that's how they've been maybe maneuvering their judging. But I think things will be different next year, because I don't think that Kiara was worse than Ilona personally.
No.
I don't think that
was.
Nomi was bottom 2 worthy for really maybe bottom 3. I don't know. So I'm just curious if next season, with the climate of supporting diverse voices, if the lens will be a little bit different in how they're judging and the story that they're going to be telling from the producer's perspective.
Let's hope for season 2.
There'll be a season 2.
Yeah.
I think it's popular
Oh,
enough.
yeah, for sure. But also the first season, they're, you know what? Go harsh on them. Make it a little the fact that we're talking about it is they're doing a pretty good job, or they're doing something that is triggering or making us talk about it and question it, whether they're doing it. So every season 1 of every show, Big Brother 1, Canada, that finale, that people will be talking about that forever. So it's the same thing with this. People are going to talk about that first season because maybe something happens. You never know. I don't know. See?
So we have the untucked moment without untucked, where they're backstage and Nomi is pretty sad about the judges not really seeing her. And I understand where she's coming from, but I think that she's also not fully bringing it as well as I think that she could. So that's why I want to give her the pep talk, because I know she has it in her. I know she sees it in her, but I do feel like she's getting down on herself, and it sucks. Hate it.
Agreed.
We talked about Boa already. I was praying that it was Starzy and Ilona that were going to be lip syncing, but then obviously we find out that it is Nomi and Starzy that were going to be lip syncing for their lives. I didn't agree.
I didn't agree, but I wasn't surprised.
Same.
Right. So Priyanka wins the main stage here. We weren't really surprised about that, because for both of her look was pretty great, and she was great in the group challenge. And so I wasn't surprised that she was winning that full challenge. And so, yeah, with Nomi and Anastasia, I was like, please bring it Nomi, because I just didn't want them to have her go home with Debra Cox, having been her backup dancer and she knowing who she is. And
but the fact that Debra Cox has worked with her, and that they kept saying, "You're a badass. You're friggin' awesome." That is, I would walk away with that if I got kicked off at that point. The fact that just the notoriety of being a legend already, I think that's awesome, and I hope that Nomi is watching this and seeing all the love and seeing the confessionals of people, what they're saying about her. I hope she's embracing it, because she's awesome.
I'm going to say something that might be a little unpopular, but I'm just going to say it. I don't think that past experience should be a factor in a competition. Nomi's incredible. I've seen her perform for years. Love her. But I'm trying to look at them with fresh eyes. I'm trying not to be biased when I know people on the show, but I know what they can do. I really just want to see them do it on the show.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm gonna say. I just want Nomi to do her best in general, but I don't want to hold her past to like put her on a more of a pedestal.
Yeah, exactly. Especially for like a competition show, half of the audience, the television audience, has no background knowledge of these queens. They're watching it objectively. Yep. So, you know, you can say that you're a legend, but unless you're showing it on TV, no one's gonna have that sort of knowledge to back it up. Yep. I mean, we obviously know, but you know, it all exists within its own little world.
Time frame. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. But I do also feel as though having the potential to do better, knowing that you've done better in the past, I think that I can understand how that could be helpful for deciding who stays and who goes in that particular moment. It's kind of like, oh my God, I've seen them do something great before. They haven't figured out how to shine on this platform, but like, let's give her one last chance because I know that she's awesome, as opposed to, you know, just getting rid of her, even though she hasn't figured out how to work within this construct. Yeah. Like, not everybody's great at a competition, and sometimes it takes a little warming up to get better at. And hopefully with her being saved again by the judges, because they're seeing something in her that wants her to stay over two people, like, I'm praying, Nomi, allow this to light that fire underneath your butt and get out there and show you the vulnerability, like the heart, like the drive, like the passion, like everything. It's time to lay it all out there, because whatever you're doing right now isn't working well enough to keep you out of the bottom two. So let's change it up.
Switch her up.
Please. Rise up. Rise up. So yeah, Nomi wins and mother out.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad. But
well, I lost one.
We all lost one now.
Yeah.
We did.
I was reading an interview from Anastasia, and I guess initially she did want to do, or she was working on a Morticia look behind the It costume, and everyone had been saying like, yes, like we wanted to see Morticia, and I'm glad she didn't use that as an excuse and say, well, I was doing it, it just wasn't in real life, it wasn't to her satisfactory, so she switched it up to Chun Li. I also just didn't see Chun Li. Chun Li is like this Mortal Kombat first female fighter, and I didn't see that on that stage. I saw the guy from Kill Bill, like yeah, thank you. Like, all of that. That would have been amazing if that was what she was focusing on. Chun Li, I didn't see it.
Me neither.
So I think it was kind of her time to go. I think she's obviously incredibly talented, but even during the rap, she was like, I just want to get this over with. I'm like, oh, you want to get it over with? Okay, like, you get it over with and get off after episode 3.
Post her book already, like she's done. I was like, no. Yeah. As many takes as you can.
Please. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God, I would be like, I would be a Virgo in that moment, like getting it
Keep
right.
It going.
Like, I would go try so many times, and I felt that, you know, with Ralph, she was really good at giving some, like, you know, stuff, like do it little, whatever. She's giving them good advice, and so I wish that she wanted to take it a little bit more and go further with it. Like, it's just, I don't know. I feel like these shows are just an opportunity to play. We don't really get that many opportunities to play as artists, you know, to stretch our creativity, and you don't get to do a rap song every day. Like, where's that inner rapper that you've always wanted, like, okay, I wanted to rap a little bit or whatever, you know, like, I don't know. I want to see a little bit of the children, the childlikeness coming out in these challenges. And so I wish that Stars had taken that opportunity just to like do something that she probably wanted to do a little bit when she was younger. Everybody wanted to rap, right? Or is it just me?
No, I don't want to.
Like a little bit? No spoken word?
Well,
spoken word, sure, yes.
Didn't it get recorded? Like, can you order that off iTunes now?
Enough of them have iTunes singles, please.
Too. They all had songs on iTunes. I giggled for sure. Do you guys have songs on iTunes?
I don't.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Will you feature me? Yes.
You have a cocktail, don't you?
Yeah, that was when I finished off. I was drinking the Starzy cocktail. I talked to Anastasia and I said, what do you want it to taste like? And she was like, she doesn't drink either, but she wanted it to be tropical. She wanted it to be, and I'm like, Starzy, and I remember I went to like Mexico one time and I was under the stars, and the stars on top of a beach is just the most gorgeous thing, and she's a star, and I decided to do a pina colada mix with blue raspberry mix, Northern Temple vodka made from apples, a little lime juice, but blended, and have it like a blended, like all inclusive. You're sipping on that, and you just feel like a star.
Oh,
you think you feel like a star?
It's so it's so good.
So, lastly, Goldfish, do you have any like hot tea that we didn't get to, or things that you might know about Canada's Drag Race that we didn't talk about already today?
Nothing that I can say in terms of tea. I don't know much, to be honest, but I do read the Reddit. So I was told recently, or I was asked by someone to post on their behalf on Reddit because they heard that I was a Reddit queen. You can imagine my surprise. I'm like, well, like I use Reddit, but like, I don't know, to be seen as like a Reddit queen, I was like, no, that's not quite accurate, but.
Everybody reads Reddit though, I think, no?
That's what I thought. I was like, what do you mean me? But I don't know.
Reddit has a lot of good information. Like,
yeah, and if you want spoiled, I would say go there. But in terms of like things that I know that Reddit doesn't know, there's very few. And what is the fun of ruining that for people who aren't, going to the Reddit to read about it?
Sure.
So I won't say anything.
No problem. And we didn't really specifically ask, but who are you rooting for this season?
I would have to say Team Nomi and Team Lemon, personally. I mean, I love all of them. Again, and I know everyone's saying that, but I really do love all of them. They picked a really fucking good cast. And I think that they all, fit in with each other, and the storytelling that they're doing is perfect. Personally, Lemon gives me life, and so does Nomi. So that's what I'm hoping for.
Agreed. Ding. Sorry, guys. They're both on my team. So do you have any performances or anything that you want to plug if anybody might not hear those for? Any shows coming up? Anything you want to say?
For me personally, no. I'm kind of, again, just working on my craft. It's been weird. Half of my drag career has been like in quarantine. So I'm just trying to continue getting new wigs and working on my makeup and creating new mixes so that when I can eventually perform. I feel like right now we're going through the transition of like less online drag into like small patio performances. Me personally, I don't think I'm comfortable with doing anything in public quite yet.
No?
And I also don't think they're offering any open stages. So, sorry, why am I not?
No, I'm just saying, like, I might have something for you at the end of.
Perfect. Well,
I have something for you at the end of August. I need a queen for a bridal shower.
Okay, well,
it's like one song and you just like kill it. And if you can do it from Tangled, something.
I'm always down for that. That sounds incredible. Aside from that, I'm basically just like trying to do online projects. I really want to create some more videos and just like content for myself to live on the internet, because I haven't really done much. I just got a ring light and like a green screen. I'm also moving in a month, so a lot of it is sort of being put on the back burner while I focus on getting into the new space. But we'll get there. It's also, again, it's my birthday, my drag birthday next week. So I think I'm gonna try to do a little photo shoot or something for that.
Cute. Until
then, just stay tuned on my Instagram, which is @actuallygoldfish.
And just keep swimming.
I can't wait to see if you a YouTube channel or something of all your looks or something.
It's all on the Instagram right now. We'll see if I end up doing like a YouTube channel. I'm moving in with my partner who's a videographer. So we're going to kind of have a studio in our apartment and hopefully then create a lot more content. So, yeah.
I'm excited to see everything. Well, thank you so much, Goldfish, for hanging out with us today and talking about episode 3. Obviously, you're welcome to come back and hang out with us anytime. We love you. Hundo, hundo.
I love you. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey! And everybody else, thanks for joining us today. Make sure you subscribe right down below. Hit the like button. Ring that bell so you can be notified every time we have a new episode. And anybody that joined us live, thanks for hanging out with us. Happy Monday, guys.
Bye.
Wow.
Bye.
Bye.